Shh. Hey, folks, it is September the 8th, and we are talking about Chapter 6 out of our book. We are going to have a test next week. I'll give you some more information about that later. Welcome back, Zoe. Stay out on my camera. All right, thanks.
Zoe.
That is it.
I didn't know Zoe.
Because I read her aura. All right.
I thought that was a new student.
So did I.
All right. So we're going over Chapter 6 today. I'll give more information about the test next week. I'm also going to send a reminder about that. But they're going to be essay-based. I'm going to give you 4 choices. And during class, you only have to pick 2 of them. But I'll let you know what your choices are before then. So it's cool.
2 essays?
I can guarantee you. Shh. Hey, Trent, you asked a question. I'm trying to give you an answer. So I can guarantee you that one of them is probably going to be over mythology. One's going to be over Sparta, and one's going to be over Athens. I haven't made my mind up on the 4th one. But, hey, that's all next week. And we're going to have study time for it and all that good stuff.
Is it going to be based on the notes that we take?
It is. Only off the notes you take. Yes, sir.
How many pages does it have to be?
It didn't have to be pages.
Paragraph.
I would prefer 2 paragraphs per. That's my preference, right? Yeah, see, it is nothing.
There's only 1 essay then.
Well, yeah. It's not that bad. Like here, and there's a reason why I do it. Because we're supposed to do college prep for this school. We're supposed to be classical learning. Writing is part of that class experience. And also, if you take college courses in history past the baby courses, the 13. I'm sorry, talking still. You have to write a lot of essays in history usually for your test, right? That's usually how it is in a history course in college. So I'm getting y'all ready. So,
That's also have to write a lot of essays.
Mr. White, have you
Sure.
ever seen Pineapple Express?
Yes.
It's a good movie.
okay. Hey, Frank, you put that up for me?
Yes.
Yeah, let's put this stuff up, guys. All right, so we have our first term up here. So if you'll recall, Jaden, when we left off, we were talking about the reforms of Solon and Draco and all that stuff. And so Athens is going through a lot of problems to where in the ancient days, there was a lot of chaos, and you had the people called the nobility were really like running over the poor. They had laws that the poor people didn't know about, and they were making laws to go against them. And then guys like Solon are going to make laws that are more visible and allow more participation. Yes, sir.
They had wagons.
And horses?
I didn't say anything about cards, did I? Okay, they were using their cards.
Their
Yeah.
cards.
All right,
Say
so
cards, Trent.
all right, so
That was Jonas that said it.
Everything in my favor.
hey guys, one more time. Don't interrupt me when I'm speaking. It's my one rule. I got others, but that's my big one. All right, so Pisistratus. So we got this guy here. Now, he was a friend of who before he got power? Who was he a friend of? Yeah, so on. So, and we're going to see this later on in Athens, where you're going to have a guy who's going to be very corrupt, but he's essentially going to be the friend of a great person. This is the first one for us. So,
Very nice guy.
friend of Solon,
He was the king.
but this brings me to my image. He rides into town all bloodied up, right? What did he say happened to him?
He was attacked.
Yeah, he said that people attacked him because he tried to help out normal people. He was like, "Look at what happened to me because I liked you so much." Yeah,
Harry Rick says it.
sure, go ahead.
He says, yeah, that people believed him. And when he drove into the marketplace, one day smeared with blood, they were ready to accept his story that the enemies had almost killed him because he was so devoted to the happiness of the people.
Yeah, so we would call this a false flag, like if it was modern politics. It's when somebody fakes being attacked by their enemies so that they look better. So pretended to be attacked And so what does Athens do? So Athens gives him
Power.
what kind of power? They give him guys with
He would.
yeah. They give him bodyguards with clubs, and he's going to wind up having a lot of these. What does he do with the bodyguards?
Little by little, the number and
And their number.
it increases more.
He gets more, and then he uses them to
He has
Take it over.
400.
Yes.
400 people.
yeah. So
461.
yeah, so that's a lot of bodyguards. So
How'd they get that many people to be bodyguards?
I don't know honestly.
I don't think
Pay
anybody.
'em.
So he is going to take over Athens.
I'd be the very back.
Instead of doing that, don't people just buy votes now?
Well, here's the thing. In a lot of ancient cities, and you're going to find this all throughout Europe, is that people in cities weren't allowed to have weapons usually. So him having bodyguards with clubs meant he was the only person in town who had guys with weapons.
Is this like hippies?
Hippies.
Yeah.
And so he's the only guy in town who has weapons. And so he easily takes over the city. Because it takes time for them to call up the army. They didn't have police forces back then. So he takes over Athens. And there's another story after he gets kicked out, right? Doesn't he come back and he plays another trick to come back into power? He pretends that somebody is riding into town with him. Somebody from the Iliad, one of those sky people we were talking about.
Sky people.
Yeah, Athena. So yeah, so later on he comes back to town after they kick him out for being a tyrant. And he comes back with a lady who's dressed like Athena, and the townspeople actually thought that the goddess was bringing him back. And so they make him into a tyrant again. And they're like, hey, if the sky people say it's good, let's go ahead and have him. And so then when he's a tyrant, he does things like he builds a lot of great works. Like this is an Acropolis. You see, it's this hill that's easy to defend. It's where people would go in case they were being invaded. It's where they would also have like their temples.
How are you supposed to get up there?
I guess there were stairs somewhere over there. Almost all Greek cities had them. He's going to build roads, and he's also, you see here, this is actually a drainage ditch.
Is that pots?
French.
Yeah, so they would make pots and piece them together for old school pipes because they couldn't really make metal pipes that well, but they could make pots. And so you see they would fit them one in the other. And they put air holes so it would drain better.
Them people were smarter back then than we are now.
Well, the thing is, like, there was a lot of ancient people who had sewers.
But we
even
have technology to do it. They did that crap by hand.
and that's tough. I mean, it goes to show how they had to work with nothing.
Dang.
Here's that story where they said why Athens was named Athens, remember? Here you see Poseidon, and there's Athena. And so Poseidon gives them what?
Saltwater
Salt
spring.
Salt water. It's like, here you go, salt water. Drink up, kids. And she gives them
water.
Olive tree.
olive tree. See, the thing is, salt water was fine, like for the ocean, for sailing
But it
and
doesn't
fish.
feed plants.
That's right.
And drink it.
Unless you boil it.
Well, you had to evaporate it pretty good. Yeah, and then you got to get that condensation back. I don't know who that guy on the right is. It's weird looking. But the thing is about olive trees would take an entire person's lifetime before it got old enough to start giving the fruit, the olives. So there was a saying, you planted olive trees for your children, not yourself. So that was worth a lot of money. Before it could start making money for you or food, you had to basically, like, your dad would have had to started it for you just so you could have it. Yes.
Wasn't the olive branch like some sort of peace symbol?
It was a peace symbol.
Isn't that the olive branch right there?
Yeah. Well, here we have. She's okay. She's like growing olive trees for them.
Where does mustard?
Mustard,
She must have gas.
not from olives. All right. So this is a bust of somebody. The book told us was a pretty mean guy.
Hippies.
Does he look pretty mean to you?
No.
Yeah.
No, not
It
really.
looks like you just expanded the picture to make it look.
Very wide.
He looks pretty
And
mean to
his
me.
brother, that's a pretty cool beard.
That was like Jose.
He looks
Okay.
like he just got super mad for no reason.
The thing is, this is how they chose to make a statue of him, so maybe he like that all the time. I don't know. Oh, wait. Did anybody want lunch today?
I
I don't
don't
know
know
what
what
it is.
What is it?
Good question, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It's been at the morning. I think it's like chicken with those tater tots and vegetables. And
I'll take it.
You take one?
Yeah.
And so, are all of you? What lunches are
More
y'all?
chicken. We're eight. I'm eight.
For A lunch.
Are you in
I'm
lunch today?
eight.
Are you taking lunch?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
3 A lunches
3 A lunches, okay.
and 1 B lunch and
We
1
have
B
A
lunch.
All right, and it's,
Gracias.
We have PE.
I don't know why it's
It's
all these
okay.
new names, I'm like,
I know.
okay.
He used to have 4 A lunches,
4 A
not the B
lunches,
lunch.
all right.
So you are A lunch?
Yeah, we have PE today, so we got lunch before PE.
It's okay.
I'll have it ready.
Okay,
I'll
thank
have
you.
an extra. Have a good
Where's the
day.
rest? All right, so that's him. And now this guy here, yeah, question.
I don't know her. Is she? What? Like, what's her accent?
German. Hey, this is the Spartan king, Cleomenes. The thing is, we're going to see Spartans are going to hate democracy.
That looks like a king.
They constantly want to interfere with Athenian politics to make sure they're ruled with the government like their own, an oligarch. Yeah,
It looks like he's ready to go to war against.
it does, because he's Spartan, and that's what Spartans do.
He went to a photo shoot.
Maybe. Hey,
He's short.
Calves.
Why is he so short?
I think it's the photo squished to fit on the screen.
I feel like if he was a real person, it'd probably be about James. Like, just like.
But here's the thing about Sparta. Sparta always had 2 kings. You had one king who was supposed to go to war, and the other king stayed at home to make sure that everybody was behaving. So, this is Cleisthenes. He's going to be a tyrant of Athens as well, but he's not going to be quite as bad as Hippias. And he's going to make a lot of those reforms that are going to make it to where even the poorest Athenians can have a vote. Yes.
Why do all like Greek people look the same? He basically looks like the same guy.
I think it's just how the statues turn out.
Oh.
Yeah, because I mean, well, I don't know about looking the same. I think you just got to look at the details. All right, here's a picture of, we're going to talk about this guy later. Hey, Brian, can you turn around? This guy here is called Aristides. We're going to talk about him later. Ostracism is whenever you have it to where the people can vote to have someone kicked out of the community. If somebody's ostracized, like let's say somebody's ostracized at let's say a job, that means nobody wants to talk to that person because maybe they did something that was wrong or they're in trouble. So people are like, they're just like off color or like comments or something like that.
So like,
They might ostracize them and just leave them alone. In Greece, they would have it where they had these pot shards. Show you a picture called.
Everything about hippies.
It's okay.
It's like impeachment.
Yeah, I didn't write it down yet. These things called ostracons. So like ancient people used pottery for things like cooking and eating, getting water and stuff like that. But when they break, you can't really reuse them to make new pots. So often they were thrown away. So they were used as junk. And so in Greek, it was called ostracons, these little pot shards. And so what they would do is they would use these to vote. Everybody had some lying around. And so they would write the name of somebody on them. Like see on the bottom left, Hemon, Aristides.
They're real weird.
And so these are the names of guys that are like, I don't like this person, I'm going to kick him out. And so if you got 5,000 votes, you had to leave the city for 10 years.
Why do they write a triangle?
That's a D, isn't it?
Yeah, that was, well, for one, they're scratching it in. And it's kind of hard, when you're scratching something on, I think it's kind of hard to make,
Curves.
yeah. But also, it's
And they
that's
wrote
how
that-
the letters
They
look.
look, they
They did
look,
an exclamation point.
No, that's not exclamation point. They didn't have punctuation back then. Punctuation won't be around until the Middle Ages.
where do you see that?
And the Aristides.
Yeah, I think that's just an accident. Yes, sir.
Isn't that like impeachment for like the president?
Kind of, but you don't kick a president out of the country. Like,
You just get them out of the presidency.
well, it can, because there's two levels of impeachment has to go through. First, Congress, and if they impeach you in Congress, it just means we're mad at you. But if they impeach you in the Senate, then they kick you out. So it has to go through both houses. Hasn't happened yet.
Isn't there only been one person that's won?
No, there's been others. Let's see here.
There was one president who left in a plane
Marley.
and then never remembered.
It's like,
Huh?
He wasn't the president.
Oh, Nixon? Yeah, well, Nixon abdicated. Nixon was like, I'm just gonna leave office. I don't want to go.
Yeah, that was.
It was like, screw this place.
All
right, so- We talked about the term. So yeah, the thing is about Hippias. But first off, let's talk a little bit more about what did Pisistratus do for Athens? We said that he built stuff, right?
He helped them. Let me see.
Helped them.
By doing like schemes and houses and stuff.
Yes. So he helped the poor. We'll just because he did a lot of things for the poor. But yeah, that was one of them, giving seeds and stuff. So help the poor.
I wrote ahead.
Okay. Did he help build anything?
Yes.
We have to write more about.
Yeah.
He helped build the temples, right?
Yeah, built some temples. And what about normal everyday things? Did he help out with everyday stuff too?
That's what he says.
So temples and what else?
Drainage pipes.
Yeah. Like roads. So he's gonna help the city become more of a city and less of a town. So, and there was something else he helped bring in water. How did he bring in water?
Water you hooked up.
Aqueduct.
Yeah, aqueduct. So, an aqueduct is you can have above ground ones and you can have in ground ones where you just have like a mountain spring and you make a very gradual canal bringing it back to a city. It could be through pipes like this, or it could be like how the Romans would do it, where they were like on these giant stilted up brickwork. We'll show later. Yeah, so he's going to improve the city, things like that. We talked about how he kept coming back into town through trickery. He would ask Solon for advice because Solon was wise and he listened to him. He had a couple of sons.
Aristotle.
Yeah. So the one that's going to live is Hippias. And what was he known as being?
A tyrant.
Yeah, so he was,
And he was a putt.
let's think of a more like rated G way to say that.
He was
So-
mean.
So yeah, he was son of Pisistratus.
It was him and his brother
Yeah.
were insolent.
Insolent, yeah. So that means insolent means like essentially you could think of like cruel, and he didn't care about other people.
Oh, hippies.
See, tyrant known for his cruelty.
Not very many people.
So cruelty.
No, but half the Carolina will. So,
All right, so things aren't going to last that long with him, and then we're going to see that
how do you tell that guy's name again? Not him.
Cleisthenes,
No, the top.
Hippias, Pisistratus. What's cool is don't worry, I'm not going to grade you on how you say the names. So
This is,
That's how we have Athens to live at.
this is strong.
Well, we're not talking about the Romans yet. So we have him. He's pretty cruel. He gets kicked out. Then the Spartans are going to come in, and the Spartans are going to want to change the government because they're like, they see all this chaos. The Oracle of Delphi is telling them to attack Athens. Remember, they basically do whatever the Oracle tells them to. And then you're going to have a noble come in named Cleisthenes, and he's going to run Athens.
So technically the Oracle
The way
could
you
just take
spell
over.
cruelty,
I
it's
know.
like, oh,
The Oracle could just take over, like pretending to be like that they told him that he should become king.
Maybe. Yeah. Like they were really easy to trick with the Oracle question.
You have to explain about your handwriting. Okay?
you gotta write it down.
Yeah.
Remember, you
So,
gotta write it down.
submit problems with spelling and writing.
He looks like a character from Barbie.
I know, but you're right.
I don't think this is a real statue. This kind of looks.
Oh,
Marvel.
It looks like
Yes.
This looks too
It looks
light.
stylized.
it does. It looks like it looks like computer
It looks like a Barbie doll.
created.
ask a question.
I'm not being
Are
Marvel.
It looks great.
All right. So
you done? Cleisthenes.
So
So he didn't shave.
Jaden, tell me something about him. What did he do?
Cleisthenes. I don't know.
Cleisthenes.
Well, I don't think I got that far. Actually, what? He soon became a ruler, and
Roll that.
he succeeded. He succeeded in bringing about two changes that were seemingly good for the country.
Yeah. So he reformed Athens' government.
Yeah.
Reform?
Then he helped get rid of the tyrant.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's going to end tyranny for a while.
Listen, it was time to break up these parties.
So ends tyranny.
Yep.
And so he's going to end tyranny.
The country, he's dividing countries into districts called demes or something.
All right, so here's the thing. The thing is about the demes is we could think about it like this way. He kind of breaks up Athens into like counties, but he mixes the people up. Where it used to be you had like a county that was just rich people and a county that's just poor people. He's going to mix them up where they're rich and poor mixed up. So
Is that what they do now?
kind of like redistricting, I guess you could say in some ways, kind of does that. But so here's the thing. Here's the thing. What you need to know, he makes Athens more democratic with a little d. So remember, democracy is a Greek word. Demos means people. Kratos means power. So this means power of the people. And so what he's going to do when he makes it more democratic, he allows even the poor to vote. Now, he doesn't let them hold political office, though. And when they voted then, for now, they're mostly voting for position, but they also vote on laws.
So
And when we talk about democracy later, what an Athenian will do, they'll invite the whole town to come in and vote on every law. So it wasn't like you send congressman or senator. It was like Joe Blow, the potato farmer, all the way to like, I don't know, like the high school principal. Everybody goes in and they have the same vote. So yeah, he does that. And he also does something called, he allows ostracism. So that if people are really sick of somebody or if they're a troublemaker, that people can vote to kick them out. So, I just said what it was. So, I guess we'll just write it down. I kind of just gave you that one. So,
You gave it to us before.
I did. Sometimes I'll forget. So,
sometimes you forget.
I
Now
do.
tell us.
So, allow people
That's what I
now
called earlier, ostrich.
to vote
Ostracism.
on who
No, exactly.
to,
Kick out.
kick
Everything's colored
And
off.
we're showing.
the city for 10 years. Now, make sure you remember this word because we're going to see this word used a lot, ostracism. 10 years.
Ostriches.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with ostriches. Brian, I need your chair.
It's a bird defect.
Ostracism. So, just wrote on ostracons, which
The
is.
hippies come from. Yeah.
I honestly don't know where that word comes from, but I do know that really are just Marxists.
I don't think they knew what that was.
They always, somebody's trying to smoke something.
Did they have more one?
Honestly, they used to chew it.
Hey, folks, off topic.
Did they have marijuana?
Okay, you ostracized.
Off topic.
What's off topic?
Wait, today's Tuesday. So what are we doing now?
I'll let you know in a minute. Hey, folks, that's going to end our lecture for now. I will put the notes up on the board, and that about does it. All right. Hey, guys.